Hi guys, this is Ira from Stape, and in this video I want to show you how to set up a Facebook conversion API using Google Tag Manager server container and particularly Google Analytics for tag. So let's get started. Before starting setting up Facebook Conversion API, you need to set up a server container in the Google Tag Manager. I already have it, so it's active and running. We already have a video and a blog post on how to set up a server container, so I will add it to the links of this video, so I won't focus on that. So my Google Tag Manager container uses a custom subdomain for the tagging server. It is highly recommended to use the custom subdomain. If we are talking about Facebook Conversion API, the custom subdomain helps to send FBP cookie to Facebook. FBP cookie is responsible for the browser ID. Meaning that if you add a custom subdomain to your Google Tag Manager, you will increase the match quality of the Facebook events since Facebook will set an FBP cookie, and this FBP cookie will be sent to Conversion API. Okay, so let's get started with setting up Conversion API using Google Analytics 4. I will use my WordPress demo store in this video. Let me show you what I have in my WordPress store. Setting up a Facebook Conversion API or any other tracking for the website that use some custom CMS is much easier, since there are already some plugins and extensions that can build a data layer for you. So in my case, I can go to the product page and show you what I have in the data layer. So you see that I opened my product page, and inside the web container, I already have a data layer that sends all the product data. Okay, let's start with setting up Google Analytics 4 tags inside the web Google Tag Manager. The first thing that you might want to do is set up a GA4 configuration tag. So click here, configuration. You need to add your measurement ID. I already have it here. It is important to enable this checkbox, send to server container. It is important because we will use GA4 to deliver data from the web container to the server container. Here you need to add your tagging server URL. Let me find it. Transport URL, yeah, I name it transport URL. Transport URL you can find inside your Stape account. So this one, tagging URL. So basically it's a URL of your server container. Configuration tag. This tag should trigger on all pages. Yeah, that's it. I will click save. The next step that I will do is set up eCommerce events for the GA4. I will select here tag type Google Analytics 4 event. I will select a configuration tag. Configuration tag is the tag that we created in the previous step, so it's GA4 configuration. You will need to add event name here. I will add it. I will add an event name. So Here is will be one tricky part. Most of the sites have already data layer implemented. The problem is that Universal Analytics and Google Analytics 4 have different standards of the e-commerce data layer. So this is the problem, but the good thing that there are already variables in the template gallery that allows you to convert event names and variables from Universal Analytics standard to Google Analytics 4 standard. I already have this variable ready. So this one is UA to GA4 event. In the next step, I will show you this, how I created this variable. So here, event parameters, I will use here in the event parameters. I will send an object items, and again I'm using a variable that converts Universal Analytics products to GA4 items. The trigger that I will use is all e-commerce events. So for now I will click save. Let's go to the variables and I will show how I created this event and variables that converts from data from Universal Analytics to GA4. So this is the URL that converts events. So basically you can open the Google Analytics template gallery and download this custom template. Yeah, so this one converts events. So you just add this template and select here mode event name. Discard changes. Let's see what is going on with items. So basically I'm using the same template. You just add this template, and here you should select items, and you can add the currency. Let me show you how I created a trigger for GA4 e-commerce events. So basically it's all custom events that have GTM for VP. So now we set up configuration tag and enhance e-commerce tag in the web container. Let's go to the server container. What you need to do inside the server container is create a GA4 client. What this client does is it processes incoming HTTP requests and parse these requests and map information that this request sends to the event data inside the server Google Tag Manager. So basically clients are responsible for processing data inside the server Google Tag Manager container. Let me create it. So yeah, Google Analytics 4, and I won't change anything here. I will close this, and let's let's test what we did. I will click preview and preview in the web container. So web container is connected, and this is the preview of the server container. You can see here that like in the server in the web container I have like page loaded, and so okay in the server container you will see these two requests. Why you see two requests? The first one is request from Universal Analytics, and the second one is from Google Analytics 4. We are interested in the Google Analytics 4 requests since we're using this one. And you see that this request was claimed by GA4 client. So everything works correct. After you created a GA4 client inside the server container, you need to create a GA4 tag. GA4 Google Analytics 4. You need to add the GA measurement ID, and you need to add event name. I will use a dynamic event name. Okay, so, and this tag should trigger every time when GA client is claimed. So this is how my trigger looks. So it's a custom trigger when client name equals GA4. I will click save. Let's open preview mode of the web and server container and check what we've done. Okay, so my web container connected, and let's see what we have inside the server container. Yeah, we have GA4 request and GA4 tag triggered. Let's click and open the product page. You can see that eCommerce event were triggered. So basically you see here view item, select item, and let's see what we have here. You can click to event data inside the server container and see what information about the product server container has. So you can use this event data inside your server container. So basically it's some sort of a data source for your server container. So I can see that everything works correctly. So eCommerce event worked and page view event works. So let's proceed with setting up Facebook tracking. Okay, I am inside. I opened web Google Tag Manager, and let's create a Facebook tag. I will use this one. This inside this tag add. So this tag will trigger a page view event. Yeah, this is page view. Add the pixel ID. This tag should trigger on all pages. Okay, let's take a. So let me. So Facebook recommends using web and server tracking. So they are saying that it is better to combine browser and server tracking. But if you send the same event from both browser and server, high chances that events won't track correctly because it will be duplicated. So basically you send one event from server, one event from web, and Facebook saw 2 page views, for example, instead of 1 page view. To fix it, Facebook implemented, like they have event deduplication. Event deduplication works based on the event name and event ID. So Facebook says that for every event, every identical event from web and server, you should send the same event name and event ID. It is extremely easy to send event name since like it's a standard parameter. But what should you do with event ID? You can use any variable from the Google Tag Manager template gallery that generates event ID for you. I will show you how I create event ID. So I create event ID that includes event name plus event ID. Event ID is a variable from the GTM template gallery. I will show you how it looks. So this is the Facebook page view event. I will click save. And let me show you Facebook event ID. So this is the event ID. I just added this template from the template gallery. It generates unique event ID for every event. Let's go to tags and let's set up Facebook eCommerce events. Add the pixel ID here as well. And here you should enable this checkbox, enable enhanced e-commerce data layer integration. So it means that this Facebook tag will look to your data layer and automatically process all required information. Do not forget to add event ID here. So again, it's event name underscore event ID. And again, this tag triggers on all e-commerce events. Save. Okay, so let's go back to the event duplication again. So now we added a unique event ID to every tag inside the web container, but we should have the same. We should send the same event ID for identical events from the server container. How we can do that? In this setup, we are using Google Analytics 4 as a data source for the server GTM. It means that we should add event ID to all GA4 events. So I will click here. I will open this configuration tag. You can see here that there is a checkbox send a page view event when this tag loads. I will disable this since we will create another tag for the page view event. GA4 event, configuration, event name, page view. So Google Analytics 4 has some recommended event names, and let me check. Okay, so yeah, page view is not here, but from what I remember, page view should be like this one. So it's the same that I did here. So page view should trigger on all pages. Okay, we added the page view, and now inside this page view tag, we should add an event ID. Event ID value. So just add the same event ID you created in the Facebook tags. So I will copy it here, save, and I will add the event ID to enhance the e-commerce tag inside the GA4. So I have here items, and I will add event ID as well. Okay, so let's open the preview mode of the web and server container and see what we have. So we need to start seeing the event ID inside the web and server containers. So you see here that GA4 Facebook page view, GA4 page view event triggered in the web. And let's go to the server. So we see here page view, and yeah, we see here event ID. Let's click to the product page. Okay, inside Facebook, we can see that Facebook and GA4 enhanced eCommerce event triggered. Let's see. Yeah, we see here event ID. Let's go to the server containers. So this is view item. Yeah, so we have view item event here as well. Okay, that's good. So the part with the event ID is done. Let's start setting up a Facebook tag inside the server container. I will click here new and Facebook. I will use our tag for setting up Facebook inside the server container. The main reason why I want to use our tag is because it can work based on any client. So I will select here inherit from client, and it means that Facebook tag will listen to the client and try to automatically process all the required data from the client. If you want to manually set up each event, you can choose override method and select and set up each event manually. So let me go to inherit. I need to add API access token. You can find it inside your events manager. Facebook access token. Here I will add Facebook pixel ID and test ID. Test ID is required to see test data inside the Facebook events manager. And here this tag will trigger every time when GA4 client is claimed. Let me click save. Okay, let's open the server preview and let's click through our site. For example, let's see. Okay, so now you see that Facebook tag is failed. Let's try to understand why it's failed. Requests. Let's see what was sent to Facebook. So to understand what is the issue when your tag is failed, I recommend going into the requests, and here you will see an outgoing request from the server. So these requests are formulated by clients, and clients send you an information what happened basically with the tag. So here you can scroll down to the response body. Let me check what's going on. So it okay, so you see there it complains that I'm not sending currency parameter. I'm not sending currency parameter. Okay, so let's check what we have here. Items, not sending currency parameter. Let's go to Facebook tag. And user data says custom data. So it says that I'm not sending currency parameter. I will just add my currency here. To test Facebook setup inside the Facebook Events Manager. So inside the Facebook Events Manager, you need to copy the test ID and add it to the server container. I have a variable that is responsible for test ID. It looks like this. It's a lookup table variable that works every time when the bug mode is true. It helps to reduce, to remove situations when the real client is browsing your site and test ID is added. So just you can create this type of variable or your own. So update the test ID and open the preview mode of web and server. Here I will connect, and yeah, it's connected. Let's see what we have. Okay, so yeah, I have a Facebook Events Manager in my second screen. I can show you here. So this is what I see now. Facebook saw two page view events, one from server, one from browser, and both were a server was deduplicated. But I see one mistake here. You can see that event ID is blank. This is because I forgot to add the event ID inside the server container. Let's fix this problem. Okay, so I will go to the server container and I will open the Facebook tag, and here inside the inside the server data, you need to add event ID. I will close this preview and I will open another page. Now this is what I see inside the Facebook Events Manager. So unlikely this page view event, this new page view event, it was deduplicated in a correct way. So you see here the form is different, and you see that both web and server events, they have the same event ID. So this is the correct behavior of the event deduplication. Okay, so let's check what else we see here. It's my web container. Let's open server container. So Facebook event triggered on the view item and select item, and this is what I see inside the server container. So I can see the page view event that were processed from both browser and server, and I can see that Facebook saw a view content event as well, and this is what information was sent to Facebook. So it's information about my products, and you see here that these are the user data that were sent to that were sent to Facebook. So it's a browser ID, IP address, and user agent. Everything is correct here. Okay. That's it. So basically, we set up a Facebook conversion API based inside the server GTM, and we are using GA4 to send data from web Google Tag Manager to the server container. Yeah, thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next videos. Have a good day.